right, I'd like to call the January 18th, 2023 Brookline Regular Select Board meeting to order. The time is 6:35 p.m. Present in the room are Selectmen Stan Noga, Bruce Mello, myself, Dot Maggio. Steve Matters is here, setting up the owl for us, and Everett Mark Bills, our road supervisor, is present. There is Fact TV is recording us, and there doesn't appear to be at this time anybody on the Zoom call, but we'll get to that in item 3. Any changes to the agenda at this time? Anyone, no changes? Thank
Well,
you.
I guess we can cover.
We can always add
certain things.
things in under our select board reports, but there's no
Okay.
votes that we have to add in, right?
Right.
At this time. All right, there are no scheduled nor unscheduled members present at this time, so we'll go right down to pay orders. I put that earlier up on the meeting. So everybody should have in front of you a list of the PR warrant numbers for the different months. That's for your records. You can take it home. You don't have to use anything about it for tonight, but there was a question as to some of the warrant numbers being out of sequence at one point. So Judy for set that up for us. Okay, at this time, I am going to pull the payroll warrant. I would like to make a motion to approve payroll check warrant report number 23-29 dated January 18th, 2023 in the amount of $1,717.90. May I have a second? Seconded by Mr. Mello. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of approving payroll check warrant 2329 in the amount of $1,717.90 signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion passes. I'll pass this around for signature. No pens.
Okay, yeah. It's a match.
All right. I would like to make a motion to approve check accounts payable check warrant report 2328 dated January 18th, 2023 in the amount of, hang on, make sure I have
24833.
okay, I'm just looking at the lot of big number of $248,339.89. May I have a second?
Second.
Second, by Stan Noga. Discussion. 2 points of discussion. I wanted people to note that $244,677.84 of this warrant is for the West River Modified Union School District amount. I also would like to read a note that the assistant treasurers put in on this warrant. It says, Melissa and I are working on a more timely and efficient way to get signed checks in the mail. You will notice that the check stubs only are attached to the invoices with this warrant. The checks themselves are prepared for Melissa's signature and mailing after the warrant has been signed. She will double check the signed warrant to make sure that there are no eliminations or corrections before signing and mailing these checks. Any other discussion? Hearing none.
No.
All those in favor of approving accounts payable 2328 in the amount of $248,339.89.
I second it.
All the,
You
we
take the vote
seconded.
unanimous?
All those in favor of approving that warrant signify by saying aye.
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 All right, it passes unanimously. Thank you. I'll pass this around for signature.
While we're on those things, was there a resolution to the concerns we had regarding Brattleboro salvage in the last set?
I did pull out that correspondence that I had with Judy, and she did not respond. She was going to follow up on it, but I have it here that I did not get an answer.
She's not able to help with this one yet.
There she is.
Who is,
That's Alexa.
Yeah,
no, is
Okay.
she hot or what?
must be its terms it's used to. huh?
Alexa. I never met her before.
So I will follow up again with Judy regarding the invoices for Brattleboro salvage, just to refresh your memory. There was a statement that came in and it said invoice amount $2, pay this amount $7. And she was paying the invoiced amount of $2. It's actually several hundred. And the question was, why are we not paying the due now amount and Judy explained that she's been trained to only pay invoice amounts. So there may have been invoices that are on the statement that she wasn't sure, but she was going to follow up and make some phone calls, but she did not tell me what the result of those are. So thank you for reminding that and yeah, Brattleboro Savage invoice. So that was one of the things I was gonna have to follow up on in my share report. Oh, we have hi guy. We're using the owl this evening, but unfortunately the TV starts to talk back to us. Miss Alexa keeps interrupting. I don't know why. All right, so I signed this. Let me pass it for you all to sign. Start.
I had a teacher in 6th grade who wore purple
Every day, right?
Well, you know what her name was?
No.
Mrs. C. Branch.
I'll see you remember.
We used to call her Ocean Trail. I swear to God, this is my 6th grade teacher,
Oh,
Mrs. C. Branch.
all right.
Miss C. Branch. Anyway,
I'm gonna move on to new business. I just wanted to let you all know that the Brookline Meeting House Committee is trying to establish a fun town event. And the date chosen is Saturday, July 22nd at the Brookline Meeting House area. It also happens to be the date that
Mr. Cutoff.
Howard,
Isn't that when Mr.
Cutler.
Cut?
Yeah, this is the same weekend that Mr. Cutler is going to be in town, and he's going to be around with several of his friends who are playing in a nearby state music wise. And so he would like to put on a little music concert on this date. We may also have some other activities. So it's in the very early stages, but it will be, if you wanted to mark your calendars, July 22nd, 2023 at the Brookline Meeting House. They're looking for the Cutlers will come down from Washington State, and music and activities will be planned.
Wow.
I'll keep you informed on that as things develop. Okay.
That's very nice of them. That's
you
wonderful.
think? Oh, my God.
The second item under new business, I just wanted to let you know that the Brookline Meeting House Committee are working on a survey for community outreach regarding the building to get more people interested in doing things and making suggestions. So that will also be coming forward probably between February, March, April, and I'm not exactly sure. It's not something that will be included in the town report. I did suggest that, but they don't think that they were gonna since it's not a perforated book, they thought it wouldn't work that well, but they're gonna do electronic and mail and things of that sort. So again, that will be forthcoming as the tighten up the actual survey. The third item under new business, Colin Nystrom is getting married, and they had requested to use the Brookline Meeting House on Saturday, June 17th for the wedding ceremony. We told them that the reception the building's not ready to host any receptions. They're gonna do it at their own home with tent, but there may be 50 people in attendance in the Brookline Meeting House. It happens to be the same place where his parents and grandparents also got married, so he's excited about that. And is there any questions about using the building for the wedding ceremony?
Oh, we've done it before.
Right. Okay,
Mm.
all right. Anything else under new business that anybody would like to bring up at this time in general? I'm sorry I didn't get out the agenda a little earlier so that people could have commented and I could have amended it before I had it posted, but,
Okay.
okay. All right, there's always time under our reports and updates
Right, select the
to do that,
question. Yeah.
okay. All right, the next item under old business is the BRIC grant, and I have that here, and I'll just summarize it very quickly. I'm gonna make sure I get the correct description of what the BRIC means. Okay, the town of Brookline was awarded in December of 2021. We are the state of Vermont standard subrecipient grant called the BRIC grant. Its acronym is for Building Resilient Infrastructure and Communities 2020. The award amount is $7,612.50. It's a 75-25 matching grant, as you see on the agenda. The matching kind for Brookline is $2,537.50. The award end date is 12/22/24, and it is a local hazard mitigation planning services. You will hire a consultant that can identify various hazardous mitigation strategies and has the experience related to mitigation planning. The funding by a hazard mitigation assistance grant from FEMA is also known as the Building Resilient Infrastructure Committee. Communities. I have Stan and I went and spent an extra time looking it over. We were a little dismayed at some of the numbers originally because we were looking at the amount the state was awarded and not what Brookline was awarded. And we have a few less zeros. The state was awarded $722 some odd thousand, and we were awarded $7,612.50 for us. So I would like to make a motion that the select board authorizes me to sign and send this grant authorization in via email to the appropriate office. May I have a second? All right, seconded by Bruce. Any discussion? Well, my discussion is, I'm meeting with Gwen tomorrow, so I'll be in the town hall. I'll ask I'll ask Guy to scan and email. What we have to do is send in the agreement form, the part 1 detail, and the advance notice to proceed. I do have the actual award letter and the scope of work and another copy of the advance notice to proceed. And we should file this in town. What should it's like a lot of pages. Should I just leave a binder here, or how would how should I handle this?
We have a grants drawer where all the other grants are. And I would feel that since it is a grant, it would be appropriate to put it in that drawer.
Here?
I believe I could be wrong, it looks like it's a fireproof or fire retardant type
Okay,
cabinet. And so that's my suggestion on that.
all right, so, Guy, are you aware of the drawer that grants are kept in, or grant files? If after we send this stuff off, I can just put the hard copies in a.
I'm not sure where you've established the grant drawer, but it shouldn't be too difficult to find.
All right, well, maybe at the end of the meeting, Stan, you can show me.
Yeah, Guy, I think it's the file cabinet furthest on the right, third drawer down. You'll see some other grant folders.
Okay, yeah,
files there.
I'm familiar with
believe-
that.
I believe that's where it's to go.
Okay, I'm familiar with that.
So it's, just putting the number on the tab and leaving
So
it
basically,
there.
it's in the treasurer's records.
Yeah, and it was the treasurer who, I think, and the assistant treasurer who apparently together refined that. It took up about a third to 2/3 of a drawer previously. It's a much smaller thing now, depth wise, because we have very few active grants. And I'd like just to say one other thing on this, if I may, and that is its purpose, this grant of money is to cover the expenses in an outside firm creating our local hazard mitigation plan. That's what it's all about. So I think the initial estimate was a $10,000 cost, and the grant for the 7,000 was to cover the 75% of that, which is where the number came from.
Okay, all right, so, we have a motion, a second, a discussion. Did we vote? All those in favor of authorizing Dorothy Maggi to sign and submit the BRIC grant?
I think that Bruce seconded, right?
Yeah, you did second it. Signify by saying aye.
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 Okay, the motion is unanimous. I will do this tomorrow. Okay. Third, part B under old business, Brookline Meeting House grant for foundation work, progress, insurance paperwork and such. I've been in email communication with Judy and Melissa about this grant for foundation work. The meeting house was awarded up to $15,000 in a matching funds to repair the foundation on the annex of the meeting house, and it would have to be done before end of 2024. Judy, I think, sent it to me, the W-9 form Melissa's working on, and Judy had emailed me the insurance paperwork. I'm passing this back to Leanne. Leanne has agreed to, as the committee head, to send that in, but I also will have a file here in that grant file of the same paperwork that Leanne has. So this is the Brookline Meeting House grant. I do have to make a note that in reading through the actual grant acceptance, it does say by February 3rd, we have to mail in our acceptance letter, several checklists, things that we've gone through. And they wanted to see in March the proposed scope of service, or RFP, and for review and approval. They are aware, but Leanne is going to write it out in an email, again, to have a paper trail, that we did an RFP in order to get an idea of the cost for the foundation work. So there's a little step forward and 2 steps back, but we're okay. They are aware of it, but we'll get confirmation. And if they feel that our RFP needs to be amended for a particular reason, because they are providing for half of the cost of it, they will let us know, give us a written form, and then we would have to re-advertise it again. But we don't know if we will have to, it may not. That was the one thing, is the RFP. And the other was that going forward 5 years from the date of the award, any remediation work, extensive remediation work, needs to be, they need can't think of the name of it. Vermont Preservation, they want to know so that none of their work that they supported is going to be undone. So we just have to, any further select boards or committee members need to remember that 5 years hence, that any work that's done there needs to be well documented. For instance, if we do painting, or if we do mold remediation, they're not going to deny it, but they want to know about it. Is there a question, Bruce?
Yeah, I understand. Let me back up. This initially is for the foundation work, or for the RFP for the that Terry Bourne won for the foundation work. Am I with that?
Yes, we cannot
Okay.
assign him a contract until
The RFP is approved.
the RFP is approved. It's, we did it reverse, but that's
Okay.
not uncommon in small towns.
Okay, so they basically have to prove that we did the RFP. Okay.
Right,
If
and
we
we
if
have-
we're not happy with it, we have to redo the RFP out,
Correct.
even though we've already awarded it.
We did not sign a contract with anyone.
Okay. That's the first part. The second part, I kind
His
of.
bid was accepted. You're,
The bid was accepted,
Right.
however, and that, yeah,
But the contract was.
but there's no
awarded.
contract active, so that's.
that was part of the
We're-
okay.
RFP was.
So the second part, I'm kind of lost you because I was thinking that you're talking 5 years hence for what?
That any work done on that building that may change any historical character, or like, before you take out the pews and put in table and chairs in the church part, they wanna know, because you're changing the historic,
Okay,
because if
so
you're not.
now that they've given us money for historic preservation, they want to know blow by blow when we make a change.
If you're
For 5
making
years.
major changes,
For 5 years.
yes, the
Okay,
grant is,
okay.
it's pretty straightforward, there's a paragraph. or two to
That
read.
goes off this one grant for the foundation, or is this because
Yes.
they've given us money before?
No, this is this grant, it's common verbiage in the grants they are.
Okay.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
Just a quick question, because some folks had come in the office and asked me a question in regards to the town was going to match or give the Brookline Meeting House a $15,000 match up. Is that what I understood to be right?
We have discussed using ARPA funds to initially, if you look at the RFP and it's on the town website, you read the RFP on the bottom, it says that we would apply $15,000 of ARPA funds to match if they win the grant. Which
Okay,
they did.
but the ARPA funds are town money, is that correct?
The ARPA funds can be used for this kind of project, the community project is exactly what the project that
Okay.
ARPA funds for.
But wouldn't the town have to vote on that or
No.
approve that?
No.
No, the ARPA is a very unique kind of situation.
Okay.
We do not have the select board has to vote, we have to make it public, it has to be in minutes. But it's the select board's prerogative. on
Okay,
spending
because
it.
that was one of the questions that I was asked, and I'm just passing on the
Yes.
question that some folks were wondering, or two people were wondering, how the town was spending money without it being voted on, and it was a large amount of money. So I'm just, if you explain that, that's fine.
The select board votes on every expenditure in the ARPA money, and it's the select board's purview to do that. Has nothing to do with the town voting on it.
Okay,
Okay.
It being a federal grant and not taxable, not from a taxable citizen's source.
Good
Taxing.
point.
okay, but it was
And it's-
given to the town, and the person asked me, did the town have to vote on that because it was town money? That's all I'm,
It's a good question. I understand where you're coming from. You're not being critical. You're just
No, that makes sense.
helping someone who has a question, and that's admirable. So, no, there's no requirement regarding that. And I could be wrong, but my recollection is, that the Meeting House Committee may not use that money. My understood the meetings we had back in the summer, this was money that was gonna be put into their accounts as a backup, because if I'm not mistaken, they've got $27,000 roughly in their account now, and they're gonna match that 15 with that money. And in the event, and there's also, I think, like 6 or 7,000 outstanding for windows.
No, that's not the case.
That's not the
If you read
case?
The RFP, it says it's not the case. The
Okay,
RFP.
like I say, I was just passing on some questions that were asked me in the town office, and I wasn't sure how to answer that, so I said I would ask it at at the select board meeting, and if they wanted to find the answers, they could listen to
No,
the
It's,
meeting.
it's simple, guy. It's simple, guy.
Yeah, that's fine.
It says select board's purview. We can't,
If
what we
that's-
can't do, the way I understand, it, we
If
can't
that's
do
what the
like,
statute states, then that's what it is.
yeah, let me finish my statement. We can't like say, select board can't say, we're gonna take $50,000 and give, and pay a deficit in the budget. This is
Can't
your
use it to reduce taxable.
Right.
No, that I
funding.
know, yep.
Okay,
Okay, but anyway,
all right.
All right, that's,
That's
I
enough.
will go
Thank you.
back. I don't
And,
recall.
and anybody,
What
you know,
I'm
give
saying
them my
is not
contact, I'll be glad to clarify
feeding it to
any
anybody.
concerns that somebody might have.
I didn't understand that it was going to be definitely a match. My understanding was it was going to be set aside in the slush fund in the event they went low on money. That was my understanding.
All right,
That's
we
okay.
we can
Okay.
To be
reduce
clear,
this.
we can straighten that out.
But,
But that's a point to consider without a doubt.
yeah,
We'll see. I don't remember exactly how we laid that out. All I know.
I
is
didn't bring
We
that up.
promised to help them. Is that a wrong way to put it? Yeah, we promised them that they need the 15, and if they needed to get the 15. I think at that point in time, it was gonna zero, at that point in time, the legal was given the paint work and everything else that they had committed, that was gonna zero them out.
it was.
And that's the reason why we said, don't worry about it. We got your back with the 15. So as to how that was worded, I have no idea.
All right, well,
But that's why
I might, I don't have it here to read to you, but
we'll worry about it.
there
later.
was a condition on it based upon their acceptance. So maybe, and both you and Stan both see those nuances, so we'll have to
We'll work out.
reapproach that.
We got it straightened out. We work together, we'll work.
Okay, appropriations. All right, so I sent out to you, and I made a couple of copies because I'm not sure if you all got them and it's got them.
I
I
read it.
I didn't-
You're talking about it was on a spreadsheet.
Well,
It was
this
like
is,
an explanation of what was gonna be in the book.
right, hold on. Sally cares. Okay,
Are you folks using the new, what
Yes,
is it,
Owl.
Echo? The Owl, rather?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. No, it looks very good.
Looks very good.
Woo-hoo.
thank you. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. All right.
Okay. There isn't. You understand what he was talking about before? Him, when he was doing the screen and the different.
No, I thought that was something you were gonna take care of, so I didn't bother with that.
all right, so,
Incorrect.
I tried putting this in a table
Oh,
form.
good.
And I was having a hard time, I thought it was gonna be easier where I just put the appropriations that have not changed in one box and it would be voted on block. And then put the appropriations that had,
Changes.
it changes in another individual and appropriations. Either new or old at $1,000 or more individual as well, but so let's take a look at what we have here.
I see what you're trying to do.
Okay, what I
simplicity.
ended up doing though is different from what I intended to do because I'm not that savvy any longer. I thought I had a handle on the tabling and formatting for this, but
To me,
there are
Big trouble.
items up
Okay.
for appropriation,
Okay,
okay? And, I put numbers on the outside of the word article only just because I was counting. But I don't know what article number it would be, and if there is a different way, I saved this as a Word document and as a PDF, so it can be modified, whether Stan wants to play with it, or David, or leave it as is, so that's what we're here to talk about. When I went through the list, if you notice on the second page, the sum total of appropriations requested to be raised by taxes for 2023-24 totals $10,561.
That's everything.
That's everything.
That's including the appropriation request of 1,000 or more.
Correct. The
Okay.
second page shows the appropriations of 1,000 or more, and there are 4 of them.
I want to make one fast comment. The way you're doing this is great. It might take up, is this way you're gonna lay it out in the book?
I
or
don't know.
it's okay.
It's gonna take a moment,
Okay.
but
We're gonna keep in front of our minds that this is the first time in 3 years that we've met with our town people. And, what's the point I wanna make? I think the way we're separating it is a good thing. Because in past, if I remember right, we voted on it as a block. And if anybody wanted to complain about something, it could be changed at that. You understand what I'm saying?
yeah,
Do I have that right?
it
I
was
think-
voted in block
And
before.
if I say, well, wait a minute, we don't wanna do $700 for support solution, we need to discuss that, and then that would be amended, I believe.
Yeah.
Do I have that right?
Right.
And so apologize for getting off on a tangent, but I guess I'm trying to head off and anticipate a big shooting match over appropriations that's gonna take an hour. Cause it's could easily happen. In discussion at town meeting. But I think the way you
So that's
started
what
out,
town meeting is for discussion.
yeah, we want an hour on this.
Well, our
I
town
think the way
meeting
we
book
did
is
it though,
pretty slim anyway, there's not, I mean, okay, tomorrow, Glenn, I'm meeting with Glenn, once we have confirmed that this is what these are the correct appropriation request forms and such. And, we'll go through and, she's agreed to help and put together some binders so that I can then notify the town that the appropriation summaries are in binders, that they can come and borrow or come and sit and read before the meeting, and they will also be available the day of the meeting.
okay.
And I think David Parker, the moderator, before we have a meeting, we'll sit down and he'll have a chance to go over it, and then we'll have a binder, so, yeah.
Another thought. You have a list of these that have no increase of 14. Are you?
Say again?
You have a list of these, of the 14 articles that have no increase.
They're here, right in front of you.
Yes, I know.
Yes.
Will you propose, you would kind of,
You're talking this one as opposed to this list, correct?
I'm talking about this right here.
That's right. You're talking about that.
Okay.
Okay.
Are you proposing to make that one block? And then, that's what we kind of discussed, was it? To make
That's
that
what
one
I
block?
I physically could not
Okay,
computer do it, so
I'm
we
just
can
trying to,
change it to a block. And
Okay.
Stan has also sent us,
and then,
nice job,
and then individually vote on everything else.
right?
That sounds like a good idea.
But the Article 9, on what Stan sent us, doesn't have all 21 items on it. So that's why I said, well, let me go through and
Boy,
I
cross-reference.
decided to simplify it
what's
because
wrong with that?
we've had discussions in the past about the fact that if there's no change, is there gonna be discussion about it in terms of no change in the dollar amount? And we, in the past, have said that we would lump them together because there is no change, and if they passed previously, and the one that was close is not on this list currently, that it would save time and room for this town warrant.
Uh-huh.
And so I organized it that way, knowing that there were only 4 that either we had never given money to or that were increased and kept those separate. I believe the fee that we pay to have the book produced is predicated on the number of pages involved.
Uh-huh.
So you're looking at a 1-page extension versus a presentation 2 pages.
Yeah.
But that's only one consideration, and
Okay.
I would assume that if I have time, I'll make the changes, and if I don't, then someone else will.
No, we've talked about this before. I think it's, the way we're doing it's good, because if we vote the first 14 on a block, somebody's got a bitch about something that could be amended of one of the 14, but the other ones should be individual. And the way, any way you want to simplify it that way, that's great.
So the one thing that with the Visiting Nurse Alliance, I know that they approved in the past $1,000 and they're asking for 1,000. I did move them, even though it was no increase, to their own article, because I thought we were in agreement that any appropriation request of $1,000 or more would be singular articles.
That's fine as far as I'm concerned. It's really lays it out well for the town, I think. Especially in light of, we got a budget.
But do you recall us discussing that, or am I just, is that in my head?
No, you
Yes, I
did,
do.
Oh,
you did.
I didn't know
Yes,
if
I
we
do.
But
had,
I didn't realize that was gonna lock anyone into forever, and that everyone, that people around the table might have a closed mind about a particular route that may be easier. So that's okay, I don't care. I don't care.
No, I think we're doing just fine.
I just think that it makes everybody on the same playing field if it's a large appropriation request. That they would be individual,
Yeah,
since we,
it's isolated. That's a good thing, I think. Because then, the town wants to talk about it, I think it's isolated right there. There's not that many, how many additional, well, I got a few, but so what?
we
It's a lot of
have
money.
14 non-changed appropriation
It's
requests.
7 or
We
8,
have, another,
7 of the others.
we have 2 new appropriations. We have a
Uh-huh.
couple we have 3 new
New
appropriations. One of them is over 1,000, so it is what it is, and I'm willing to work tomorrow, Friday, Saturday, if you all want to change anything. I know Stan has, probably more skill on the computer layout than I had, but,
This is fine.
I said I was gonna, set something up, so I hope I didn't.
This is fine.
But yeah.
Which one?
2, 3,
This
4,
the
5,
long one.
6, 7,
Well,
9.
You're talking about making it shorter. Well, I don't understand. How would you shorten?
As
I
it
haven't
appears
seen
in the warrant that I sent this
it?
afternoon.
I didn't see it.
Okay, I'll make a copy.
Oh,
of
maybe
it.
I did. Maybe I did. But
Yeah.
it all came all at once. The self-predicted disorder.
Down the bottom.
Oh,
As a block, because.
Where's the second page?
Usually that page
Oh, yeah.
separation was through me. Stan, the page break threw me, and then I didn't think of it as being written as a block.
I don't know if there's, one of them I sent you has, I don't believe,
This is
let me
fine.
see. I think I did put the page break after the list. After the list. In other words, when this in line, that might be the page break, yeah.
This
Okay,
is fine.
But I'm not sure. I actually tried doing it in the format that it was in, and it was
Sure.
impossible. I don't understand it. I actually have a Microsoft 365 book that's 2 inches thick. And when after fooling around with it for 45 minutes to try to make it work and figure it out, I went in and read the book, and it says, if you're doing anything more than 1 page, do not use the format that was used on that 1 page of last year. It says, go in and do it a regular Word perfect, or I should say Microsoft Word process. So there shouldn't be any page breaks. I went in and retyped the whole damn thing.
no.
Oh, my God.
So, that's where I'm coming from. And as I said this afternoon, I have no problem changing how it's done. I just probably won't do the change. Someone else can.
Oh, this is good.
So.
This is simple.
There's a difference, though. There is $1,000 past appropriation in the block. And that's not what I thought you wanted, that the select board talked about
I'm
doing.
sorry. I'm sorry, John. I lost that.
Okay.
What'd you say?
I thought that the select board wanted any appropriation requests of $1,000
Yeah,
or
or more.
more to
To be
have a
separate.
separate article.
And that's not the way Stan has it?
The first
First
one
one's $1,000.
is $1,000. It is it's not, an additional amount has not been requested.
Well, it's not a law that we have to do it that way. Having one in there is not gonna kill us. Anybody wants to complain about it, sitting right there at the top.
Well, I
I-
did
I
not
go
want to,
crazy.
I wanted to be deliberate and not arbitrary on who I put into a separate category, because there was a
Okay.
concern about the $1,590 appropriation request from Southeastern Vermont Economic Development. And that was approved 3 years in a row, so then that would go into the original block, so you can't have it both ways.
Oh, you got a point. You got a point.
So either we separate anything 1,000 or more, or we don't. Or we separate new versus old, and we separate raised ones
And
and
it's either-
non-raised
And
ones.
it's either putting it all in one line and everybody starts complaining about each individual one rather than having a separate just for the ones that increased or over $1,000. Well, that means Stan would have to change it. correct?
No,
No?
I'm sitting here thinking right now, we don't divide our parking lot into cars over a certain weight and another car under a certain weight. We lump them in a parking lot because it's convenient.
For sure.
And in this case, we have $1,000 item, which has been, I mean, this goes back a ways. All right, for the last 2 years ago, it was approved at 1,000. Last year it was approved at 1,000.
Okay.
This year we're asking for 1,000. And I'm saying yes, we did agree we do it for 1,000, but as I was sitting there late at night, 12:30,
Oh, geez.
looking at this and saying, is this worth me typing another paragraph and making this longer? And I looked at the ball and I looked at the machine and I said, no,
You're right.
not to me. So I did it this way, you know,
Okay.
and like I said, I got no problem, you do it any way you want. It's
Then
just
we
that
need-
well, somebody else is gonna type it.
Then I just think then the seventh should be put, the 1,590 needs to go in the first block.
And the block?
You can't,
Okay. Listen,
can't do one and,
Also so you'd want it next to the $1,000,
yeah.
there's a rule, okay.
That
And
one,
like I said, we can do whatever we want. Whoever, you know,
and,
I'm not being an obstacle, I'm just
Well-
saying we can do it, let's do it, but you can move it around, whoever does it can move it around.
Here's the thing. It's commendable we're trying to get this so it's usable for everybody.
and it's
But I
not
think-
even, it's not listed in here either.
What? Yes, it is, it's on page, the second half of that. It's the third one from the
Seven,
bottom.
all right, I got it. The shine, I couldn't see the
I
shine.
think what we pointed to originally was that we had, or I did, I don't know if anybody else did, was that I wanted to make sure that everybody who was at town meeting saw any increases, so we can put some kind of a control on the budget, and anything that was high priced, that we could look at it that way. What I didn't want to see happen was everything in a block, and all of a sudden, okay, we got 10,000, whatever the number is. All in favor? Okay, have a nice day. I didn't want to see that approach. What I wanted to see was people to understand and see it individually. And be in a position to question.
They
things
can
that were
always
accepted.
question anything.
That's
anyway.
correct. That's correct.
So
So we're gonna go back to a whole individual block?
I have no problem with it. I just was my notes say that to break it down into $1,000 or more and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. I
But
think
this Stan, you did, this is fun.
The standard is fine.
So I just will, I didn't have a chance to cross to make sure that we had the same exact, numbers of people or appropriations, but,
Because when we get into talking about with the town, because would everybody take a minute to look at this? And if anybody has any objections to each individual one, let's talk about it. And then let's say 3 come up for an objection. How would that work? Each one of those 3
that's a
would be,
lot. I don't know
okay, but
that.
I'm saying if there's an objection in 3 spots on a block scene, you're turning down the total appropriation, yes? Or you're amending each.
They're amending.
I believe
You're
someone would go in and.
I want to amend Article 4,
Amend,
put that
they would
back.
amend the initial move to accept the total of the grouped amount.
Uh-huh.
And then,
And if somebody
if
else
the
had.
amendment is accepted to do that, then the person would discuss the dollar amount of that, and then there would be a discussion about that and a vote on that one amount.
On that one
One
amount,
amount, and then that's gonna affect the
the total.
total.
But
But-
then somebody else could do the second thing.
Yeah.
I'm good, okay.
The same kind of process that would happen if we did it the long way, so there's no difference, other than the presentation.
Well, I-
I could not set mine up to look like this.
Yeah, we got that.
And so, all right, so that was the only thing, was the $1,000 breakout that I was
Yeah.
concerned that was, but this is,
We'll put it back in then, I
this
guess,
is
right?
fine,
Yeah,
the way it is, this.
yeah.
And so the amounts, here would be,
In a lot of ways, simplicity is gonna make it a lot easier for.
the total amounts. Stan, did you get the same number that I got?
I didn't even bother to add them up because, number one, I wasn't sure that the way I set it up was gonna be
Okay.
accepted. And I had already spent, in my estimation,
Exorbitant amount
3-4
of
times what I should have if I had, not only, there was another page that was formatted this very same idiotic way.
Oh.
And so there was more time just sitting there trying to figure
Fix
that
it.
out. And then having to realize that I had to, basically, I kept it there for reference, but then I had to create the wheel from scratch. And it was just a point where I didn't do that, no. So,
So my numbers did come out to 10,000, whatever's on that.
$561.
$61, but,
And then 67.
all right. So I guess what we need to do is just go through now so that was the appropriations format is fine. Before we move to the auditor's update, shall we just go through the warning? Everybody spend a few minutes going through the warning, making sure that there's nothing been skipped. I think otherwise everything else looked like it was there. You have all of the, elect the moderator, authorize the appointment, authorize an appointment, town clerk, treasurer, delinquent tax, select board member for 3 years, 2 years, 2 years, 1 year.
That's correct.
my understanding, if I can interrupt, is
Yeah.
that for the second item, the treasurer, if it's not approved, in, Article 2, I believe, according to the handout that Dot was kind enough to print out from VLCT, the moderator will accept a motion to suspend indefinitely the vote for a town treasurer. And then the same thing would happen in any other scenario where the delinquent tax collector, for example, is appointed as well.
Suspended for later.
The statute indicates that the term suspended indefinitely is what has to be stated. And it, by law, means that you never take another vote on it. It's done and over with, you bypass it.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I mean, in
So
the future,
treasurer will always be an
Point
appointment.
position.
yeah,
Yeah.
until such time as the town may want to change it.
Change and put another
Back, if they ever
article.
want
Okay,
it back.
but in our particular case, we can't appoint Melissa.
No,
She's an assistant treasurer.
That's why we have Article 2. Here's Article 3, here's the next page.
so there is a methodology for correcting that and just basically suspending that motion or that article. And I'm not sure that and all the time I've been in Brookline, I've never actually been through that scenario where that phraseology was required,
Using-
you know, where we've actually changed up to an appointment or come into another scenario where that term's being used.
Probably learning how to do that damn thing, but thank you.
You didn't bring me back both my pages. Oh, no, I just gave you one page. Okay.
Okay, what were we saying?
All right, that's why we have Article 2. Shall the voters authorize the select board to appoint a town treasurer as provided in 17 VSA for a term of 1
We're
year.
not messing around, we're going right to the beginning of it, all
It
right?
has to be.
Yes, it has
because
to be.
Right, we have to see if they're gonna change the way we have that office. And if that articles don't pass, Article 4 will allow for an election. However, Article 4 has, but it will be suspended if Article 2 passes and Article 3 passes.
Uh-huh.
Could I ask a question about that?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
If, I guess my concern is that, doesn't the town automatically have the authority to appoint a treasurer if no one is elected at a meeting?
No, has to be a
Uh,
town person,
it, it must be a resident of the town of
Yes.
Brookline.
has to be a
Yes,
resident.
correct.
It cannot be, and in the situation that developed this past year, we had advertised, if I'm correct, for
I'm
someone
aware of
to-
that.
And there, and so it didn't, no one else stepped forward. So, matter of fact, somehow I thought you might have even asked
He did.
the person who was serving as the assistant treasurer technically, so it was the treasurer, the assistant treasurer, I think, can be a non-resident, but the treasurer has to be a
Correct.
resident.
Correct.
That's what I understand it.
And so even an appointed treasurer, as we did, we appointed David Jones, our treasurer, and he is a resident of Brookline.
Yes, yes, and I'm aware of that. But
So
I
then
guess
it-
getting back to my question, so if someone is not elected treasurer, does the select board not have the authority to appoint a treasurer? And yes,
Yeah,
it does
they're
have
in
to
the
be
town.
someone from town, but
It
Correct.
has to be
Has to
someone
be.
from town.
Has to be someone.
wouldn't you want someone from town to be your treasurer?
It
Yes,
depends.
or if I may take the floor,
You
we
can.
had contacted the Vermont League of Cities and Town, and one of the things that the legal department explained, and I have the documentation, and this letters from them saying, this is a real problem in small towns. And that there are not enough people qualified to do or interested to do the tedious job of a treasurer. So they suggest that they are the ones that suggested we do the change in the warrant and have Article 2 and Article 3. And if the town does not want to go to the appointing, then they will not vote for it at the town meeting. We will ask the town what their preference is.
Okay.
Um,
It appears that the town is losing more of its democracy by having, just 2 or 3 people appoint everybody that runs the
Yeah.
town, and I'm a little concerned about that, and I think some other people will be, but again, that will be something to be elected at or discussed at town meeting.
Yeah.
Nobody's stepping up. It's with everything, whether it's the listers, whether it's the select board, whether it's the treasurer.
Oh, I'm totally aware of that, but
And it's come time. We had that discussion on the phone last week. And, I wanted to ream the town, whatever, but Delt made the point, and she's right, the people that come to the town meeting is the choir. These are the people that are happy with what we do. It's all the other people, the other 450 or 500 people that don't show up. So I guess what I'm saying is when it comes time that this discussion comes up, as far as people not helping in the town, we just have to look at the town and say, it's simple, guys. We either get the help or we don't get the help. And it's
Well,
up
what-
to you to help us.
another
Sorry.
option,
That's the way it
another
is.
option may be to have election of town officers by Australian ballot, which
Well, we
would
don't have
maybe,
Why would you do that?
just a couple of towns just vote their elected officials by Australian ballot. The rest of it is a floor count meeting. I'm just different
Oh,
scenarios.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, but that might
That's
be
just
for
a
the next
cut.
report to do, because at this time of the year, it's too late, and we're too late.
Oh,
into the
okay, for this
season.
time of the year, yes, I agree.
It's just to save time, is what you're suggesting.
Okay,
anyone
it's
who-
something, I think it's something that can be brought up at town meeting.
Oh, well, yeah, that's a wonderful topic. I'm sure we'll deal with that appropriately. There was plenty of time for our individuals who were interested in being a town clerk in the future to step forward, and that didn't happen. And having been through it, understanding that
Treasurer,
yeah, as a treasurer, and understanding the dilemma that the town had, and trying to be a responsible, democratically elected official of the town, looking for the best interest of the citizens of the town, we went and looked at all the possibilities of what could and could not be done. We wanted to do something faster in terms of speaking for myself. And that's not the comment that or mean that we took longer than we should have. We went as fast as we could, and with no results. We've had no results for select board members. We're having trouble finding listers. The most effective, efficient thing to do is what we're proposing to do, rather than the select board or me or anyone else feeling that this is not progress, throwing our hands up in the air and having the Secretary of State come down and run the town government to get people to do the very same thing we tried to do last year. So whatever comments or criticisms could be offered, frankly, I don't see how any of them would hold weight. We're doing everything as democratically, as fairly. The opportunities have been there. If someone wants to step up and run, they can. You know,
Yep, no,
the citizens
okay.
will speak, Guy.
This is one,
Citizens will speak.
this is one big choir right here and right now. Because you do plenty of work, we all do plenty of work, and the
Right,
people,
enough.
yeah, enough's enough.
Yeah.
You made your point.
I will point one more thing, that we are going to be in the same position on March sixth as we were in 2014, with only one select board member
Already.
carrying a term. My term expires, your term expires. We have two other terms that are not filled. The only person that has a continuating term is Mr. Noga at this time. So we'll see if people will step up.
Yep, no, I get it. I didn't mean to take any more time than
And it
necessary.
doesn't, and you know.
This could be
what else?
discussed
One
at,
last-
town meeting.
And one last point.
Yep.
Speaking about the choir being the people that are in that room. They're gonna have to look at each other and say, well, maybe Joe Schmo would contribute and be a part of the select board, and that person's not there. So nothing
Yep.
doesn't necessarily mean the people in that room, but they have to understand. I think it's our job to explain to them how critical this is, because the work's getting to be too much for everybody.
Okay, I'm
Okay.
gonna move us along.
Yep.
That's enough.
And I do have some things we can bring up in our reports about how to communicate better with the town. To let them know that it's not all just gonna be at town meeting, that they have time to hash things out.
Mhm.
All right,
Okay.
okay, so I'm gonna move down to the auditor's update.
Okay.
I
Okay,
had
move on.
contact with Heidi. She said that things have gone pretty well. She has requested some information from Melissa that was from before her time. Melissa was getting it for her. And that once the select board provides the final numbers, the auditors want the 2023-24 budget sent to them. And then they will provide the auditor's report. I did let them know that everything needs to be processed by the 24th of, did I say the 24th?
It's the 20th, isn't it?
23rd? When did I say that? I gave them the
Oh,
appropriate
this
correct
month.
date of January
Oh,
to get their
okay.
report in, the auditor's report. So we have to make sure we get our numbers to Melissa so she can do the spreadsheet and get it to the auditors, and then we should be on a timely, we should be right on schedule with what David needs to get
Right.
the reports done.
Okay.
I think David said the 26th.
26th
to 29th. One of those.
There's a lot of dates in that.
26, okay. Okay, the next one is, pay raise. So, originally, we discussed about having, the treasurer and the town clerk at the same pay rate, as we saw a difficult situation when Guy was both town clerk and treasurer. He had to adjust his hat where, for 2 hours, he's doing it at this amount, and 2 hours he's doing work at this amount, and that's from what research that we saw, that if those positions are combined, it should be at one salary guide. So we were looking at improving the rate to, making them even, which would have been 21.75. I suggested that we round that number off to 22, but it appears that it may have insulted Guy, that there was only a.
How much is Melissa McNabb?
20, okay. You got a schedule, Stan sent us all information, it was $20 an hour. So, at this point, when I went through and Stan sent out this, and I spent 3 hours reviewing the compensation books, and Stan probably spent as much time reviewing that. If we were to look at the total compensation package, if raised everyone for about 5%, it would approximately be a $6,500 increase for everyone, and that would include stipends and things of that sort. However, I'm not really keen on just putting a blanket 5% out there. We're having a very tough year with the FEMA not being reimbursed. And there's going to be some sticker shock on that. There's also going to be sticker shock for the residents when they realize that our rates are going to be a little different because of the CLA or CO? CLA, the CLA difference. It means that they're going to be, our rate is going to be increased because they figure that our appraisals are depressed. So we're going to have a different. It's not a zero. We're not zeroed out. We're not close to. Yeah, we're not at 100%. We're not. So
Where are we? We're
85.16.
We're 85% of CLA now?
yeah.
Yes, yeah,
Ooh.
past year has done a number.
So that was one of the reasons why I did not want to sit down. I sat down and I worked on 5% here and here for everything. But now I wanted to hear what you all wanted to do about this.
I don't know about the blanket idea.
I don't know. Approximately, our salary guide for everything is approximately $130,865 annually. Roads and stipends and this and that and the other, and if you're gonna do a 5% of that, like I said, it's about $6,500. However, I think we could be more economical if we are just looking at a couple of positions. I suggested that we bring up the treasurer to the town clerk and round it off to 22. And I also suggested to add $1 onto the lister's pay rate, but nothing is written in stone, and I'd be glad to.
I'm into that.
Into what, Bruce?
What you just said. So how much does that increase our budget? Not much.
Not much.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, whenever it's.
No, go ahead.
Go for it.
Yeah,
Sam?
no, I live in the same environment that everyone in this room does, anyone listening. And we all know how prices are increasing, and to ask anyone to come in and do work around your house or in town, there's a significant increase that those individuals ask for. We have no idea what heating and gas and all those kinds of things are doing.
Yeah.
So I expressed to Guy and Dot the other day when we were here that, I thought that there was a need to reflect and revisit the raises that we had previously discussed in such a meeting as this. So I went into the report produced by VLCT. I picked out, 11 different towns, ranging in size from 365 for population to 722 for a population, and looked at what the various categories: town clerk, assistant town clerk, treasurer, assistant treasurer, et cetera, all the way through everyone who was working for us. And there were some things that became apparent But I will say that what I found is that for town clerk, the values per hour, or rate per hour, went from $14.42 to $31.35. In that category, when you go in and look at the manual from BL, the
This
report,
category, yeah, this.
the average statewide for Burlington through little old Brookline and Athens was $26.69.
The average.
The average. The median, you had all those numbers and you counted in and got to the middle one, $25.
Mhm.
What I noticed is that the bulk of the small towns have rates that are in a little less than $20 an hour. And that was a serious concern. If I were Guy or Melissa or any other executive in the town, that just, it's offensive, it's irritating. But so I went in and I looked at other towns and just went down the pay grade, who's working full-time, who's working part-time. And how they structured it. And in some cases, they just set, the full-time people have set a target amount. It's like 30, 35, 40,000 per year. And those people generally are working the 40-hour week.
Right.
And so you're looking at an 80-hour pay period over 26 weeks, whatever. And obviously those people have a lot more money, they have a lot more people, commercial properties that they can put the burden on, greater highways, et cetera, et cetera. We don't have any commercial aspect of our town. So I guess what I realized is, or what I thought is, maybe there's a halfway point. And it may not please everybody as an employee. The chips have to fall where they fall. I looked at everyone's and then looked at the fact that the social skills, the mediation that goes on over the phone with the jobs that Guy and Melissa do, and I'm thinking maybe it doesn't sound like a lot, but setting perhaps their hourly rate at $23 equitably between the two, 23 and 23, and leave everyone else as we had decided back
Before.
2-3 weeks ago.
And we're not looking at a dramatic increase in our budget by doing so.
Correct.
Other than,
Correct.
as if we increased it by 5% across the board.
Correct, 5% for for the town clerk position would have been $1.08 an hour raise, but bringing it up to $23 would be a little bit more than that. And I do think that those positions are very important.
Yeah.
and
I do a lot of work.
right.
That's the big deal as far as I'm concerned. They do a lot of work. They work their butts off.
They do. They do.
We're not talking, I don't mean this in a bad light. I'm not talking a person that has an hourly job that comes in here and does work for a certain defined time. That's one thing. But to have a person that comes in here and runs a building and has all these other little things going on, or is running a budget and has all these little things going on, that's different. So I'm with you, Stan.
I agree. I think that's quite fair, and I apologize if my rounding off to 22 appeared to be a
No,
slight. It
No,
was just math.
And I would add one other caveat, in that we have historically already set a precedent for retention of people. Now, this minor increase may not retain the people we'd be hurt by the most, should they decide to go elsewhere. But I, as we all do, we made the change on the other individual last fall, and we didn't add that increase to the budget. We took it out of ARPA, which allows for retention of people, and I propose that any increase that we do, leaving others as they are and increasing the two individuals to the $23, all be funded from ARPA. It's a small amount, relatively speaking, and it's not adding anybody's burden to complain about.
I'm very comfortable with that.
I like the thinking, and it goes along with my thinking. Not that my thinking is a great way of thinking of the way we're looking at all this. And that anytime we can keep our money where we don't have to increase taxes and it works, we do it.
Great,
So
so
I guess we're in agreement.
we're in
Um,
consensus for this. I'm sorry, Guy, are you in the I have to say, Guy. All right, yes, Guy, what can I help you with? I mean, we have a 3-member select board, and I'm not trying to insult you, but you used to be at all the meetings but I can't run a meeting with, go ahead,
You must make
Go
a
ahead.
comment.
make your comment.
I
Ask
just
your
wanted to comment that our town, I've kept the hours down to 21. We've done everything. We have absolutely no benefits whatsoever. We have
That's
no
right.
paid holidays. I mean, the town is very fortunate, and I'm not just talking about for me. I'm looking at down the road because I don't intend to be the town clerk forever and ever, but to make the position attractive to the next town clerk or the next treasurer or the next lister, you have to be able to offer something. As far as using the ARPA money, I'm not really in agreement with that because the town has to face reality. We are in a place where the cost of living is 8.6% just this year. And some people haven't had raises in a couple of years. We have to, you can't keep kicking the can down the road.
No,
The
we're
bottom
not.
line is that we have to do what we have to do. And as I said 1,000 times, it's incredibly difficult for a small town to sustain what it's got to do. And that someday will probably lead to the fact that we will probably join with Newfane, Townsend, and Athens somewhere down the road. And I don't think that's too far away, to be honest with you.
I agree.
Guy, all we're trying to do is, this is for this year. But the $23 item, per hour that we set is on infinitum unless another select board changes it. So next year's budget will reflect that. What we're trying to do now, like Stan was saying, is we're in the hole a lot of money because of what happened with the road fund because of FEMA. So by trying to mitigate that at this point, doesn't kick the can down the road. We would be kicking the can down the road, Guy, if we said, well, we're gonna tell next year's select board to nosedive the town clerk and the treasurer down to $20 an hour. That's not what we're doing here. We're basically at this point in time locking in that rate at this point. Next year will be a part of that budget. This isn't kicking the can down the road. I mean, if you wanted to make the argument, we should be $27 to $30 for a town clerk or a town treasurer because they don't get benefits. I understand the argument. But all we're trying to do is balance this budget this year and be fair to people. Am I doing okay with
Okay,
that?
And the select board has not had an increase in a stipend, and
Yeah.
the amount of work that
Hey.
this select board is required to
How
do is
That's right.
atrocious.
That's right. We're not complaining, but I make $25 a week gross,
Yeah.
and it's gross. Considering what I do, and I don't do anything compared to what these two folks do. It's ridiculous. But no one's bitching, but we're just trying to balance the budget. That's the end of my story.
And what I was trying to say earlier, Guy, was when we have the agenda and the member of the public, you're supposed to be able to, had you said that you would like to address this, we would have addressed it first, but to go into the meeting and then to go back and forth with you is not the way that I thought the meeting was supposed to be run. That when a
Right.
member of the public comes on, that's, I thought we
That's
would do
correct.
that first in the beginning.
The only inkling I've got of you discussing a budget is when you, in regards to pay raises, when you asked me how many hours I work a week. That was all I ever knew about it, and I apologize if I missed that. I apologize.
No, I mean today, I mean, this agenda I'm talking about. That's all.
Okay,
That,
okay,
that's
whatever you folks are allowed to do, that's fine.
Are we good?
Okay, so,
We're in agreement,
all right,
I
so how, we don't have to make a vote on this, it's
No.
just, making sure that the, guy is appropriately funded. And so I guess, we will have,
I think there's some provisions for voting on ARPA use of money that's required by I remember.
we
reading
don't
that.
have a number though, do we, to
No,
vote on?
no, we don't. We'll have to put that off to another
What do
meeting.
you mean?
But I think there's requirements as to when you disperse monies out of an ARPA account, I believe you have to
Or plan.
vote it out.
We have
You
to
just
Oh.
can't play with money.
I
It has
got
to be
you.
on record.
Okay, I
It's
said,
on the
we're doing
agenda.
a compliance budget, but what you can do through separate.
Yeah.
What I suggest is that we have, and it can be a Zoom meeting, we can have a special meeting in a couple of days, once we calculate how this will
How much it
affect
is.
the guide, and have a Zoom meeting, a special meeting announced, and then we can vote to move that money from where it is to where it needs to go,
That makes it
and then
legal.
it be legit. That's the way it
Sure,
should be done.
that's one way to do it, sure.
Instead of waiting,
Yeah.
because if we wait 2 weeks, we're past our deadline.
Right.
That's
okay.
a
Well,
very good
the-
idea.
I
Yes,
can
sir.
just say this, that the amount of hours, that the total amount of hours that we figured, I believe, were 21, I don't know, you have that number somewhere, Dot,
Right.
how many hours?
I don't have it here right in front of me, but yeah, I have it.
Okay, because you had requested those numbers and I
Yes,
gave
you
them to you
called.
a couple of weeks ago.
Yes. Right. And that was yeah,
That's
including the 3 hours for the weekends, yes.
Yep.
So we'll have an accurate number is what you.
Yes, I have it
Okay.
written down, but I don't have that right in front of me at the second. We'll do that.
Okay. Well, good.
Okay.
So
All
we're in
right,
agreement
so
with
this
everything?
will be
The way it's set, if I understand, just to reiterate,
It's 1,128 hours,
1,128 hours
yes.
of how much of an increase?
$728 more plus from the 75.
What?
Plus 2175.
No, I'm talking about how much is the increase in dollars? If it's 1,128, would be.
Well, I've got a method, but. go
Be a
ahead.
little, okay, let's stop with that now.
I know, I'm just, you've got a method, I got a method. Yeah, no.
Listen to it now.
It can be done tomorrow or Friday.
Yeah, really, we don't have to do that now.
All right, so we are tabling the, no, we're not tabling.
No, we're not tabling it.
We're in agreement with identifying the town clerk treasurer pay scale at $23 an
Correct.
hour, and that we will determine what that increase is, and then we will have a special meeting and vote,
All right.
announce
That's
the
fine.
meeting to vote to get where we're getting those funds from, correct?
Yep.
Okay. Does that make sense?
Yep.
That makes sense?
Sure
What I
does.
said?
That's, yep, that's, yep, thank you.
All right. All right, so if there's nothing else here, we'll move to in-person town meeting. There was a law passed recently, or bill, that says that we could do Australian ballot, but I am just going to confirm with this select board that we are going to in person on the Monday, March 6th.
The law did pass.
Yes.
It did. Okay.
Yes, I
Okay.
guess I saw
Okay,
that.
so we are still on board to do an in-person meeting on the first
I
Monday.
think so.
Um,
Somebody's uncomfortable, we can wear a mask.
That's right.
right.
That's right.
That's it, just like.
We're
going
not
into
doing
court.
it by Zoom because
No.
You're not
Yeah.
required to.
it's not
But
required.
I do have a point on the time. He says start at 6 P.M.
Correct.
The meeting, it will be
5 P.M. food,
5 PM food.
good, that's all I want to know.
Oh, are you cooking?
I don't think, you don't want me to
Okay.
cook.
I'm just gonna-
Get that straight.
All right, now we shall move on to reports and updates. Road supervisor. Mark, I guess it's been pretty quiet. We might get some weather. But what do you want to share with us?
Yeah, so other than road checks, I've been in contact with Archie and, resupplied the salt shed with one more, small truckload of salt. We also resupplied the sand base with 4 truckloads of winter road sand. And that puts us back in good shape for a couple more weeks. And then the other, topic was the cleanup at the recycle bin. Somebody,
I will tell you that I put out a little rant on the email listserv.
Yeah, I saw that.
And several residents wrote back to me and, they talked about and I explained how the digital card fills up and, we don't have, that's not a spot for it, unfortunately. And I said, it's on the agenda for the town meeting. We hope you come and voice your concerns. And if you have an idea, we're willing to listen. And I always kept reminding people that we have some open select board seats. So,
Always pushing,
yes.
pushing the franchise. I love it.
So again, your time and the cost of that, you'll have to build the
Yeah.
recycling when you submit, so let me ask. His time and the cost to bring the materials to the Brattleboro dump, should it come out of the recycling account and not the payroll account because it's a recycling cost that we're incurring?
Right. Yeah,
I mean, it makes sense.
yeah, it does.
Okay, so Mark, you need to, and I can help you, give me a call, whatever, but you need to invoice your time, materials, travel, whatever, for this thing. Write it out, and it has to come out of the recycling, so it's different than a payroll kind of
Okay.
thing. We're gonna reimburse you for those expenses
All right.
and costs.
I
that
know
you-
that, the town will get an electronic bill from the wind and solid waste for the tonnage,
Okay,
but I will, make a note on my billing.
Okay.
Tell Melissa.
yeah, don't commingle it with any of the other road stuff, that's what I'm
All
suggesting.
right, yeah, I
Okay.
will go the other way.
Melissa's gotta know it, right?
Okay,
Would Melissa expect it? I mean,
well, that's why I'm saying
he's gonna bill it that way.
yes, it should be
If
clear,
If I clarify it.
clarify it, and I can, shoot an email
Excellent, said Melissa.
to Melissa. The recycle cost, dump cost. That comes out of the recycling.
I went by there at 6:30 in the morning. And I stopped and, it wasn't there at daylight, so it happened. I actually saw quite a few locals stopped in when I was cleaning the product up there and, somebody's wife saw a pickup truck backed in there and saw the furniture, so he was gonna see if he could get further information, identify the.
Yeah, we gotta stop it.
the stuff.
Well, like I said, we found some identifiable documents that I put the names out, and if anybody wants to
Sure.
get the documents
I
back,
mean,
they can
I-
contact me.
I wanted to say that, out of the whole pile, I was able to recycle a good third of it.
Oh, good.
Some cardboard and.
Good mom, thank you.
stuff that
Thanks.
Fit in there that should have been
Yeah.
put in there, but they were in a hurry and
Uh-huh.
just spewed it all out.
Right, right,
So
and also the person who put their horse,
that
back.
happens numerous
well,
times.
I put that out there too.
And I went to clean that up and that all fit right in there. If they'd have pushed on it, each bag just kept going and it all went right in there.
Instead of lining it up nice and
If
neat
they just
outside.
take their
that's-
time to,
well,
Or something. boy.
all right. Move on to, anything else? Juan?
no.
Okay, all right, move on to highway grandstand.
Yes, the two things to report on a comment to follow. We have already received our $6,700 from our Hill Road grant and AIDS grant. So that money has come in. And it, I think it was like 13 days from the time I sent it in, which is excellent, excellent.
Made you happy, didn't it?
It sure did. It sure did. Well, I'm happy for the citizens of the town. There's
Sure,
money
of course.
that we've gotten, that
Good
we
success.
have been awarded and that's done. The other thing was that Melissa kindly reported that we received the quarterly roads mileage reimbursement. We're due about $40,000 over the year. And we did get a quarter of that, roughly $10,000 plus the other day. So those are timely. And the other thing is, we have a class tomorrow at 9 o'clock. Mark and myself, and anybody else that wants to
I'm going.
participate, great. And, we're gonna learn about culverts and how to handle it on the software, so. That's, and it's not costing us anything, it's just a free thing, and that's great. So that's all I have to say.
I'm inclined to think that I know the software best runs on like an iPad, or are you using the software on a cell phone? Just any?
I've been using my cell phone, in light of the fact that we're messing around with software to get this town report and other things and being under the gun in time frame. I have an iPad. I haven't touched it in over 3 years. It would probably be very helpful to use. I wouldn't mind using it for the town purposes. But I understand they're better. I just don't have any personal documentation that's true.
Well, when I met with, when we went to that one workshop or of Dover, Jeff Nugent was saying a cellular-based iPad could be used by the road crew out on the road and documenting their GPS locations. And I just think at some point, the town may need to invest in a piece of equipment for that purpose, specific purpose. I'm not making any commitments. I'm just saying that's your piece of equipment. But, you know, does it reach is it Wi-Fi from being local, or is it a cellular-based Wi-Fi iPad? So there's a difference. One's will pick up internet.
Yeah, I don't know. I have not ever used it for that purpose. I used it briefly, but the Apple software is so different from the PC environment that I kind of gave up on it after playing with it for a few hours, a couple weekends after I bought it years ago, thinking that it was going to be great to have. So there goes $139 down the drain.
Oh, bummer.
But it, it would be nice to learn at some point, and maybe hopefully in the spring, if we have time, we can do that and then maybe the town can invest in one that would be applicable.
Right.
But I do know that when I log on to the software with my cell phone, for finding a location, it does give me longitude and latitude readings on my cell phone, and it's not an iPhone, it's just a regular Android. It's having the software on the phone to let it work. It obviously would be a problem if there is no cell service in that area.
Yeah,
so in this environment, it's a tough one. Location wise, again.
Anything else, Dan?
There was stuff that I wanted to mention overall, not necessarily related to that. They can go on another agenda another time.
Okay. All right, the next one is building commissioner report, Mr. Mello. He's under the table.
I have 2 things to mention. First thing was how we decided to split the money up for the revenue from Susie's. And I would really like to go back to the old way that we had it, just because Melissa pointed out, because it's always going to show us in a deficit. And it's hard enough for me to follow to see how much we've got in the budget as it is. And by doing that, it's just going to make it more confusing. So I would really like to keep it the way it is now, where it's considered a fund. We can always take the money from it. It's not a dedicated fund, so that's not an issue. So I would just like to keep control of the expenses of the building and the revenue of the building, so that you all are constantly updated as to how much is in there accurately.
I didn't realize, I know now that I did know this, but I didn't know it when we were talking, that I was like, weird, the money's not showing up, and that's why I wanted it as a line item, as a revenue. But it's put just like the money for the assessments, the $2,700 versus the $324 that we found when we were questioning where is the $2,700. It's put into its proper category automatically. And so, yes, the fund does show that money coming into the town. I just was not thinking that. I was like, there's no line item under the revenues that shows that there's money coming in for rental, but it is coming in under the fund balance.
That's true.
So that was my concern.
Okay, so we can keep it the way.
Well, I don't know, no, you talked, I spoke, Sam.
I would like to know, it is an income stream. And at the same time, I guess I'm betwixt in between. I don't want to create more work for anybody than is necessary. I do feel it's important for the citizens to know if there is additional income that is offsetting some of the costs we have. I think that's important to do. The way that I'm saying it is that it comes in and it's gonna be put into this account, there'll be a balance. But in no sense is it giving the citizens or the board an actual sense of, and a clear, easy to understand printout, a way of showing how much has come into the town, other than somebody in their mind knowing this year we're getting $24,600 or whatever the number is, you know, so I guess summary statement, I want to be flexible. Whatever is easiest for everybody is helpful. I would just ask that people bear in mind the fact that there's got to be a more defined way, hopefully, of showing what that is adding to reduce taxes to the citizens of the
It
town.
doesn't.
Which, well, it's money that's available that we're planning on to use for
other
expenses.
things. That's true.
So in that sense, it's no different than money we're hoping to raise by taxes, or money that we're hoping to get because of a mileage that we have in town from the state. You know, there are a lot of similarities where that can be justified. So the question becomes, you know, what is easy to understand? You know, for me, if someone were to ask that question, and we already have had one question from one of the meeting house people, is aren't we supposed to be having money from the lease at the elementary school? And the answer is yes. So I know for some people, it's not showing up in the numbers clearly and in you know, indicating, yes, it is money the town has received. It is a source of income. But so, you know, I don't know if there's another way that, or some other unique scenario that can be created by the treasurer to demonstrate that, either in a separate, not off the books number, but something that can be done with our system to show that, yes, it's here and it's in this account and it's income at the same time. I don't know if that, apparently it's not possible, but it just, if there is a way, I think that would be helpful to people who are looking.
I get what you're trying to do. The problem is we always have a negative coming from that building. There's always an expense. So it's kind of an individual on its own. And it's kind of the same way with a meeting house. But meeting house doesn't have many expenses, it only has little expenses. But in the case of Susie's, sometimes those expenses are not nominal, whether it be the inspections, or whether she's checking the fire equipment or things that break. So to have it situated where you're gonna have the revenue over there, but you're gonna have the expenses over here. I guess what I'm saying is this building is, I guess it's a revenue producing building, but it also has major expenses too. It kind of runs on its own in that respect.
Yeah.
We're just at the advantage that we have a revenue base, what's left over that we can use for other things. But to separate that, and you know, also, if anybody were to ask the question, it's easy to print, just like I do when I'm befuddled because I don't know where I'm at with the numbers. I come in here, out comes the printout, and there you go.
Well, I think what Stan said and what you said, we need monthly fund balance sheets in our paperwork.
Oh, okay.
Not, when we do the payroll, I get to see too much information. I don't have it, but if we would just get fund balance, it'd be 6 sheets of paper, 6 pieces attached in an attachment. Once a month, we
Yeah,
only
well,
need a
she
fund
started
balance,
doing that when she first came on board.
but we're not getting it on a regular basis. You can ask for it, but I think we need to know that Brookline Meeting House is not a revenue-based building.
No,
It's
it's
a
not.
fundraising building and an etc.
Right.
So the daycare
Yes,
does
right.
have revenue base, and it's self-supporting, but there is going to be a positive impact because the buildings, the heating system, we finally got it under control, so we should not have to have all of these deductions from that, and then we can start applying that to other areas, like to the shed, to
That's
fix up
right.
the shed, and,
That's
you
right.
know, we can,
Or even the church.
after we get through this budget season, I think one of our meetings really should be sitting down and saying, how are we going to appropriate our own, are we appropriating our things in a clear and a tangible, transparent way? And that's something Guy said. We need to make sure that we understand it and that we can explain it to other people.
Okay, well, let's.
So the fund balance does make sense now, because when we would get a fund balance, you could see everything, but we don't get it we have to request fund balance.
You're picking up on
It's
the
fine.
negative.
Whatever, if it's not possible to do it as I've got it in my mind, and I'm not saying that's right or wrong, I just don't understand it all. But municipal accounting is so different than a normal account.
Yes, it is.
It's so,
Yes, it
what,
is.
what I'm used to dealing with from financial statements and corporate, tax returns is totally different. And it's hard to wrap my mind around it. But if it's not possible to do it as I've thought about it and expressed, that's fine with me. As long as I know it's not possible, that's fine with me. You can't make something happen that can't happen.
What I like to be,
Was
what I,
the appraisal amount that we would get when we were looking at our work session for that $2,700 besides the 300, like, we get it, you were calling up the state, we were calling up where is it, and Melissa's like, oh, yeah, we get it, it goes right over here. It doesn't show up over here. So this is the same thing. It goes right over here. It's not showing up here, but it is there and it is being applied appropriately.
okay, well, I'll just share with you the frustration I've had in the past. That guy's not here anymore. At one point, he really helped me out when in between, this is like a year and a half, maybe 2 years ago, where I had no idea what we had in that account. We had so much expenses and we had revenue, and I never was able to justify what I had for expenses, keeping all my receipts with what I knew that we were taking in. It's simple to me. That's why I balance my house, cost in and out. Bingo, bottom line.
Yeah.
And I can't tell you the amount of time. I have, in all these years that I've been doing this with that school, I don't think I've been on once. That shouldn't be. But that goes to what you're saying. Every month, if we had a fund balance, and it's not just the fund balance, and I'm specifically
The fund
talking,
activity.
I'm talking about Susie's only.
I'm talking about the church.
Okay, I know you are,
I'm
but
talking about the highway.
But you can't do
I'm
it,
talking
but what I'm getting at,
Okay,
what I'm getting at is the accuracy. I need to know, you need to know that on February 1st, as an example, that's what's in that account. And it includes February 1's rent, or it doesn't include February 1's rent. I'm $2,000 off automatically, just like that. Now, may not be a big deal, but back when I was trying to get the building fixed, the windows fixed for $5,500, and when I got the windows painted for X amount of dollars, I was running a total to try to build that up to pay for that. Well, it's a little disconcerting when you don't know what you got. And it's not a major thing, but it's off 1,000 or 1,500 or $2,000, and I can't balance things that way. So by her doing that, because I was going to ask her to do it February 1st anyway. Melissa, can you give me what's in that fund and tell me where they are in terms of Susie updated? Did she pay the February 1st rent?
I think we need to know.
And that should be done with everything every month, is what you're driving at, correct?
Yes.
I agree.
Because I think that would make it a little easier when, I would know the highway fund balance and how short we were, close we were running
Yeah, you know.
to the edge when we're trying to get work paid.
But what about the church fund? We just had $7,500 come in. We've got, tentatively, we've got the thing with the windows going. We've got, we got money, we need to see. We've got supposedly money that we're gonna have to spend on windows, and we've got all this. That's getting like the way Susie's is, the only difference is they're not a revenue producing operation other than fund, other than the donations. So they don't get, they're not guaranteed a certain amount of money every month, which in a lot of ways makes it a little more confusing. So to do what you're saying to do, every month, every first of the month, we'd have it, or March 1st, February 1st,
For
which
the-
is coincidentally,
for the select board meeting, the first select board
Exactly.
meeting of the month.
exactly.
All right, so Stan, how do you feel about it if I wrote to Melissa and asked for that as a monthly report, the first?
Yes, you can, if it's, you know,
fund
doable,
report.
yeah.
And I'm gonna send her a separate letter saying, when is sending that to you, could you make sure you tell us where the lease is for that month? Did
What do you
Susan,
mean?
well, she's gonna give you, well, what I'm getting at is what I was talking about before. Is I never know if it's accurate unless she specifies, okay, Susie's paid February 1st. But if she hasn't paid February 1st, I'm $2,000
Can't you
off.
see that on the fund report though?
Not always,
That
no,
means it's not been
But
deposited. then.
that's an unrealistic expectation.
no, we
anyway,
just,
Because she could pay it on February 3rd, report's written as of February 1st.
I
The
got
money
that.
is there, so what's that additional 2-day difference gonna cause us a calamity for, or?
Well, I don't know what's
Or
gonna
negative
happen.
for the town, that we have to be realistic in a sense. And I have no doubt that she'll be accurate, you know, on whatever she does.
From month to
So-
month, the accuracy
so-
will be
Okay,
there.
okay, but if February 1st, she just $50,000 in there. Does that include February 1st rent?
You're gonna have.
Well, you
a
would know,
fund-
if you're following the
Okay.
month to month, you know what the previous month says,
Right.
and you know whether it's there or
You
not.
would. look-
Okay,
You could go
but that-
month to month to month. You
Okay,
have
but that's not
to-
happening now.
Correct. Once it
Okay.
happens and establishes, you'll
Then I can see it.
follow.
Then I can see it, then I don't have to buzzer, okay.
All right,
Gotcha.
so,
Okay.
trying to move us along, I will.
Yep.
Not only that, we're not calling her on the 3rd saying, you know, you didn't make your payment on the 1st, so.
Yes.
I just wanna know, I just wanna keep track of the money, that's all. I'm trying
That's a good term, keeping track of it, you can see.
Follow
to
the
do. Right, if I can see it from month to month, I can figure it out on my own.
Yes,
I don't have to bust anybody's chops over it.
okay.
Okay,
All right, so the first.
okay, that was,
So the first meeting of the month, we're gonna ask for a fund report, for the, I think we have 6 funds. And, it's highway, operational,
oh,
school, yeah, I'm just saying,
Right,
all right, so
school.
6 months, I'm recalling from Samara, she used to do that for us right on occasion.
and I only have one other thing to state about the building commission report. You're all aware that we had, Peter Meyer last weekend sent me a letter, an email saying that the, heat pump next to the entranceway was solid full of ice and was making noise. And I went right over and spent the next 4 hours or whatever, back and forth to get most of it off.
It was dripping,
It was bad.
it shouldn't have been placed there.
That's
probably.
correct. And I take some of that responsibility. I didn't catch it. It's partially, I'm running the show. I didn't catch it. My responsibility. And Tim Hart should have realized it too. So, but it's my responsibility, it's on me.
Can't be moved.
Not really. So we have a solution. Mark's gonna build a little shed dormer over it so that we won't have that issue. But saying all that, I got almost all of the ice off except the backside bottom, about 4 inches. Wasn't happening that day. But I went over there tonight with my tools to see if it would come off easy, because we had 45-degree weather today, and it's gone.
Okay.
So
Great,
we're good.
All right,
And plus, just one last point, there was no harm, as far as I can tell, there was no harm to the unit.
good.
That's it.
that was my concern, if the blades get stuck in ice.
That
And it
was the
shorted
problem.
out a system or caused them overheat and blew something, that was.
Ooh,
I'd be after the installer though.
oh, that's what we would do, without a doubt, but I didn't want to get to that point, so. Rushed over there and try to get it resolved without having to worry about it.
Thank
Okay,
Okay.
all right, I'm gonna move quickly through mine. Town's been notified that we have COVID-19 test kits available. There's boxes here if anybody wants them. The expiration dates have been extended. I did try to post on the front porch forum for Brookliners, more Brookliners than the current 185 to sign up for Julie Lavorgna's listserv. And it turns out I got a nice letter from Front Porch Forum saying that it's a competing communications entity and they have not approved my attempts, two attempts to post that to Brookliners to sign up for Julie's listserv in addition to what they do on Front Porch. So mine, I just hit me now. I'm wondering if there's somewhere in this booklet similar to where we can put something of that sort, like the listserv information.
We got a website. Can we put it right in there?
Yes,
Really?
but not everybody who's a taxpayer gets a website. I'm just wondering if there is like one of these things, if I send to Dave, oh, here it is.
What?
I'll take it back.
It's already there.
Never mind. Our Brookline email current listserv currently includes 160. This is one of the ways in which we will communicate. Julie Lavorgna. All right, it's here. So we're good. Everybody will get this and I can point it out. And again, on the website, I will add it to the website.
Yeah,
Thank you.
you know, when I think back,
idea.
there have been sign up sheets at town meetings.
Yep.
And you know, the only people that we might want to make an extra effort is maybe ask the listers when they send out the letter, asking if there are any special conditions to that sale that would affect it being deemed a legitimate sale or non-legitimate sale for the year-end calculation of the COD and COD and COA, is maybe they have a notice to that effect that they put in there along with that letter so that everybody is aware of it. If they read it.
Excellent idea. The lister letter. Okay, I like that. All right, that was this concern when I got disappointed with that. All right, the next item is the recording clerk's open position. Now, I'm gonna read it. Okay, because I needed your approval before. It says, due to the recent retirement of Peter Barris, our longtime recording clerk in Brookline, a vacancy currently exists for this position. Candidates are expected to attend the twice monthly meetings either in person or via Zoom on the first and third Wednesday of each month. Meetings begin at 6:30 p.m. The recording clerk is appointed annually after the town meeting. The pay rate is $75 per meeting. The clerk is expected to provide draft minutes within 5 days after each meeting and update the draft to final after select board reviews it at the following meeting. Assistance from Mr. Barris in the form of templates, etc., is available. Please contact, I put my name, Dorothy Maggio, Chair of the Brookline Select Board, if you're interested in this position. Thank you. Is this what I can put out?
Sounds good to me.
All right. So that's.
Thank you for doing that.
That's a simple job description.
Hope we get some
not-
response.
Okay, so that's for that.
And I looked in the VLCT person, there's a category for that. It was average $20 an hour. It took me
Oh,
over
really?
3 hours to do it, I came up to about $75.
So we're on.
So, you know, from my experience, I don't know what yours was in the past,
Yeah.
but the way we're doing it now, it
That's
works
right.
out to a reasonable fee.
Right. We had it at 60 for many years. Peter
Right.
asked for a raise because he was commuting back and forth and that
remember that.
cost for more. So, that was that. So that one's checked. I do have a couple of other things that all right. I would like to consider, it was very long. I think we could probably shorten it and probably give ourselves a time frame stand, but I would like to have another, work bee with you because the job for the administrative assistant, I have samples of it, but I don't know what we would need to do. So that would be something to discuss. Also, the ARPA refund from the 27K that was put into the salary fund, we have to analyze that and have the town vote to have the select board vote to move it back to ARPA if there's excess. We didn't vote on it.
Oh, we did? Okay.
Okay. We know that the trustee of public funds is appointed. Okay, that's okay. Delinquent. Mark, I also made note that you had said that we might want to work with the AOT on the final FEMA projects. I'm gonna. We're at a good place right now. It's quiet. We don't have to worry about things, but I do think that I need to sit with you and you need to take charge of some of this and maybe do some, Archie should help with some of the RFP and we can always assist with you as well. But we need to get a handle on what's left. There's a lot of 90%, 90%, 90% that need to be finalized, and we need to tighten this up before you get busy working. So we got some paperwork to do, and that should be done this winter. I
Yeah,
just want to say that we might be asking you to make the AOT calls and things.
yeah, I'm very aware of what areas
Yes.
need completing, it's just a matter
Just organizing,
Yeah.
we have to put it out to bid. How many of these little pieces do we have to put out to bid? And so we need to really get our ducks in a row, and since
Yeah,
it's,
yeah,
yeah.
glad to, get in on that.
Okay, now that I confirm that we are having the meeting in person because the bill passed, I will send out the letter to the daycare telling them we're gonna request the use of the multipurpose room on Monday and on Tuesday in case we run out of time. I'm assuming that the meeting will go from 6 to 9. If for some reason it's running late and we have to adjourn to a place and time, it will be multi-meeting house on Tuesday, 6 o'clock. So that's what I'm going to tell them that. The Brattleboro salvage invoices, I'll follow up with Julie. We know that the CLA was 85.19 and the COD was 15%. And we already talked about this, the rent revenue versus the location of the fund balance sheet. So we already, so that's my things that I was gonna bring up when we did do that. Okay. Any other reports or discussions from the select board at this time? Mr. Noga?
Yes, yes. At our last meeting, or the meeting before, one of them, we voted that each of us would do a write-up for the selectmen's report.
Oh, yeah.
And I have a fear there's gonna be a lot of overlap. Because we could all be talking about the same things. And it, from the standpoint of spending the time doing it and the readers reading it, I sense that in between there, we're gonna have to pull together the ideas and take a paragraph out of here, paragraph out of here. So I am wondering if there is, as part of the work bee that we're gonna do either tomorrow or Friday, if there's the availability of, reviewing maybe, past years and seeing what changes we'd make to that. So that if it's the same, basically, topics, we just change the date and sign off on it.
See, I started, when I was working on mine, I started and stuff, my first draft was very down because I was short-staffed, blah, blah. And then the next second one was all about FEMA woes. And I'm like, that's not what, so I agree. I need to come to make I would like to work on a workshop and I have time to do that. And then we can probably get that going.
What has to be done by?
It's supposed to be Monday.
Supposed to be last Monday?
We said that we want to get it in on the 16th, so that we would have it for tonight.
Right.
I remember that.
But I just was bogged down, plus.
Well, no
I
excuse, it's, there's a lot to do, there's a lot that you and I have to do. And, so, I wouldn't have a problem going till next Monday if that's what it took. The problem is that either the 26th or the 27th, it's gotta go to
Yes.
David.
Yes.
And I could actually read, I would like some, what's the word that you use, not commiserate, but, I'd like to
Yeah.
work with you on it's, and of course, you're welcome too,
I
but
know.
three's a quorum and we can't do it that way.
That's okay.
What I would suggest, however, though, is if, whatever day we're gonna meet, whether it be Friday or Monday, or over the weekend, that if you could make sure just a brief outline of
Even call,
the 3-4 things that you, or call if you don't wanna type it or write it, and just say, I
Include
really
that.
feel you should put this
Include
in
it.
there. Yeah,
Okay.
so that we're all contributing to it.
Okay.
right,
Okay, I
okay,
can do that.
all right,
Or what I'll do is I'll type it out and send it to both of you.
all right. if you can
That'd be
type it,
great.
that'd be
That
good.
would be appreciated.
And you
Thank you.
did get,
Now, when can I do, when do you wanna buy?
Say.
let's say this weekend.
Wait a minute, Donna, just hold on, 'cause you know what I'm dealing with. I got a birthday tomorrow. And-
Well, it's
Okay,
either, it's
how
either,
about, let me see,
it's
It's not gonna
either
take-
this weekend or
I just-
Tuesday.
I'll get it to you quickly. I just need to think about it, what I wanna
Sure.
do,
Yeah.
and
Thank
put,
you.
okay, all right, and put it to you. I'll get it to you.
All right, so
Something
that,
that tells me if you're gonna type this, it won't be long.
My name isn't Stan.
Steve, you want me to sit with me, do you wanna, I'm gonna be working with Gwen tomorrow, so I'd like the afternoon also.
Yeah.
Friday or
Friday's fine, good, sure.
Friday,
Yeah.
Friday was,
Whatever you tell me, Friday, Saturday is out, Sunday is available, Monday is, Monday's okay too. Because in actuality, other than the numbers being plugged in for the.
We're done.
Appropriations, we're pretty much finished.
Oh, yeah,
let's say Monday, I will work on what I wanna work on and have it ready. And then we can collaborate, that was the word I
There
wanted,
There
you
you
go,
go.
thank you.
there you go.
not commiserate,
Not commiserate. I use that all the time too.
Okay.
Commiserate. People look
Collaborate.
at me like,
on Monday.
that's awful.
Is 11 o'clock work for you,
Yep,
Stan?
yep.
11 a.m. Okay, now, as far as if we have to have a special Zoom meeting, probably to approve anything, that get those numbers done, maybe we could do that on Monday. I'll be in touch about that special Zoom meeting. I'll have to
Oh,
post
right.
it 48 hours in advance.
What's the Zoom
anyway.
meeting for?
That was the,
It's to calculate how much the cost is for the raise.
for the raise,
And
Oh, okay.
because we have to
Well,
approve
we
it.
can do that, we can do that on Monday.
on Monday, okay.
But do you need
And
me
then
to
once
vote
we
on it?
calculate it, we need to do this, to have an approval. We can have a Zoom meeting Monday night even, or.
You do whatever you want.
But we'll call it.
Yeah, I don't mind working on it on Sunday or Friday in terms of figuring everything out and just send it to you, and show you the calculations. And then when we're able to figure out what we need to ask from ARPA, then we'll need to know what number should be in the town report.
Okay,
Because Melissa's gonna need those numbers to come up with the taxable and non-taxable amounts, that need to be raised, so. She should have it as early as possible to Monday, I wouldn't wanna put her more than Monday if we could help it.
right. And,
Well, you wanna hit, just tell me when you wanna vote on it.
all right, so Saturday is, let's do it Sunday.
Oh, I see what you're saying, a Zoom meeting just for ourselves to do
To,
that.
to
To approve
approve
it.
the
I
numbers.
forgot all
once we
about that,
got
I am
that.
sorry.
So,
Anytime,
How about,
It's only gonna take 5 minutes.
it should only take 5 minutes, it could be 15.
Better not be.
all right, I'll be in touch.
Okay.
All right,
God help me.
communications, we're gonna move on to the next thing, communications.
So basically, like I say one more time,
Yeah.
we're done, correct?
We have
Now,
to get
talking
stuff
about
to
the
the
town
auditors
warrant.
now.
Yeah,
Or everything, the process is done.
pretty much.
Good work.
Okay, email, Sarah Webb wrote to me and said that she will not be able to coordinate the town meeting potluck supper this year.
Because it's
So
dropping
I
the ball.
am going to, put a notice in Front Porch Forum and the email listserv.
And.
For that.
Maybe Barbara Bourne will think of that? She has a hard time saying no.
Okay, we also
I'm just
got,
using the weapons we got available to us, you know what I'm saying?
I also want
So
to
we're just
make a
not
note that I
watching it.
saw something interesting online. It was emailed the Front Porch Forum from Kim Friedman. She is looking for Brookline volunteers to do some research about solar sites for a project she's working with. I'd like to put that out to the town again. Yes.
She called me
Okay,
last Friday, and I called her back Sunday, left a message. She hasn't called me back. I was gonna suggest to her if she calls me back, I'm not looking for more work, believe me. We talked about this last spring, and then she dropped the ball and went down 6 months. But anyway, I was gonna make a suggestion to her that she should be involved in a town meeting, a select board meeting, maybe on the 1st or the 15th, and explain what she wants to do. And then, it could also be put in the listserv,
So invite her to,
Yeah, that's what I was gonna do.
select
and
board.
give her 10 minutes or something like that, or whatever you think is. It's not gonna take her very long to explain, and she's very organized, and I worked with Kim for quite a while, and she's really quite organized.
Do you want to invite her to the February 1st meeting, or do you want to invite her to the February 15th meeting? Or we don't have to have it done before or do you
No.
want to invite her to the March 1st meeting?
I'll give her a choice. How's that?
All right, well, let me know.
Oh, well,
Okay.
I'm gonna, she hadn't responded back to my phone, my voice. I'm gonna send her I'll send her an email.
Okay.
Let her know.
Other things really quickly, did you go to rescue last night?
I did.
Okay, because this was in the email box, and anything major?
The things that affect us is, the rate that they charged us last year. Is the rate they're gonna charge us this year, with no rate increase. And there will be, for next year, a 1% increase, and then the year after that, another 1% increase. Other than that, they appear to be surviving. They're contemplating, they're working with, communicating with Rockingham for potential utilization of their services there. They have had no further discussions with Brattleboro. As you may have seen in the paper, they have an arrangement with Grace Cottage Hospital to serve as their ambulance service now. They're doing, they've got the school up and running for training EMTs and people in that field, which seems to be surviving. They have contracts with various state agencies. They've done 682 clinics around this entire state of Vermont for COVID-19 shots and the various updates since then. Last year in the entire Wyndham County, they answered 5,697, if my memory is not failing me, 911 response calls. Their service is as good as it's ever been, and they're doing everything in their power to promote and promote the service and keep the people who are working there employed and with an income coming. So it looks like the county is very well served by them.
You're talking about rescue.
Yeah, rescue, yeah, and that's the sum of it,
Appreciate that.
essentially, yeah.
Another piece of mail that came in this week is from the Wyndham County Sheriff's Office. I'll read the paragraph. I'm gonna try to attend this, and anybody else. Dear Town of Brookline, I'm writing to invite a representative from your board or administration to a regional policing discussion on February 9th, 2023, which is a Thursday, at 10 a.m. at the Vermont EMS Academy. I am inviting representatives from all the towns and villages in Wyndham County that do not currently maintain a municipal police department to begin a discussion about how to provide a regionalized policing service that supports rural towns better than what currently exists. And so the agenda has 4 things. Discuss the history and needs, discuss the current services that the Wyndham County Sheriff's Office provides, explore opportunities to improve it, and discuss costs associating with it. So again, it's 10 to 12 on Thursday, February 9th, up here on Route 30, next to the next to the lodge at West River at the EMS Center. So
It's the old River Bend Inn.
the old
There you
River
go.
Bend,
Oh, the old river man?
yes.
Oh, really well.
So that is that piece of mail, and the other
Oh,
one.
River Bend Inn, not
Yeah.
not River Bend. Okay.
And this-
Across the street
E.G.
from-
Zacks.
Yes, there you go, that's the name.
And the amended 2022 equalized study result, this is dated December 23rd, though, so this must be old. Education grand list from 411 is 72,504,435. The equalized education grand list is 85,110,582. And the common level of appraisal is 85.19%, and the coefficient of dispersion is 15.07%. So we are one of the many towns that has a depreciated CLA at this time, and so that will affect the rate at which the education tax is going to be levied on our citizens, but we have no control over that at all.
You,
Okay, next thing, just want to quickly go over the minutes from the December 21st meeting.
there's just one more point. There's discussion about changing the way school taxes are raised. It would be, they're thinking about doing it on income rather than on personal property tax. I heard that one time on TV and I was like, oh boy.
About a week or so ago, I spoke to Scotty Tabachnik, the principal at Newbrook School, and he
Oh, wow.
did say that, if we recall when Act 46 and there was the regionalization of the Newfane, Wardsboro and Townsend schools, you know, they consolidated.
Yeah.
Well, there is another consolidation in the works happening. Unfortunately, so he said, so just be aware of this, that there's another consolidation in the works, and I hope if
How's
that's,
that? Yeah.
I don't know if that has anything to do
I
with
don't
what you
think
said.
so. There's a discussion, that they're thinking about changing. This has been, I remember when Steve Morse was running the Senate back in the 80s, and we're gonna make this work better. Well, that was 40 years ago. It didn't work. But anyway, they're talking about changing it to personal income tax for personal property tax to figure out school taxes. Oh, man, I want to see what they're gonna do with that.
Okay.
I think maybe I'll start cutting my income or something.
Okay, so let's go to the
Okay.
draft minutes from December 21st, 2022 meeting. Are there any changes on page 1 of 5?
Mm.
I saw none. Okay. Any items on page 2 of 5? Any items on page 3 of 5? I do want to make note that you look under new business, where it says Brookline pledged to match the VDHP grant of $15,000 by applying ARPA funds to the approved project. So there was a discussion, but of course, it's still flexible at this point,
It's to match.
whether to match up to $15,000 is what they receive.
I don't think we have to worry about that.
Okay, I just wanted to say that
Sure,
maybe
sure.
the fact that
We talked
the
about it
last
before, yeah.
sentence says a vendor contract packet between Town of Brookline with Kerry Bourne for the work will need to be put together. That is not going to happen because we have to wait for this, for the
Approval, yeah.
VDHP to review that.
Yeah.
Okay. Any changes on page 4 or 5? I saw none.
That answers my question. That one on new business.
And page 5 of 5?
Nope.
Okay, this is, we need to check on this item here. It's under accounts payable. It says, very last, it says, Ms. Maggio moved to amend the motion to deduct the amount of $127.39 from the warrant number 2326 because of the commingling of Susie's Little Peanut service warranty and the credit due to the town. Mr. Mello will communicate this to the treasurer.
I did.
You did. Has it been rectified? Could you follow up on that for us?
Okay.
Okay, so that's in the minutes here, so you'll follow.
Oh, yes, it was, because, well, I didn't see any numbers. I talked to Judy about it.
Okay, but just make,
That was a month ago?
well, this is from this, correct. This is the minutes that we didn't know where they were and they weren't posted. So, yes, I'm just asking that I need to check on this if it was done, because it was a while ago.
Okay.
It's on page 5 of 5.
So
Um,
this would have been the time she had COVID, so it wouldn't hurt to make sure that you ask again, just to double
Yeah,
check.
okay, okay,
right.
okay.
All right, I'd like to make a motion that we approve the minutes from the December 21st, 2022 meeting as presented.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Noga. Any further discussion?
Negative.
Okay, I did talk to Peter, and if there were edits, he was willing to do them, of course, but I will tell him that he'll just change the draft word to final and he'll send it to Guy. All right, all those in favor of approving the minutes as presented for December 21st signify by saying aye. Aye, a motion passes unanimously. Next thing, very quickly, we can do the draft minutes from Wednesday, January 4th.
I'll abstain from making any comments.
That's like that,
I
that's
wrote
the
them.
beauty of
I
this,
wrote them.
that's the beauty of this, we get
The
nothing.
pressure's on, Jeff.
I'd
I
like,
didn't see that.
I'd like to make a motion that we, we'll go through. Wait, do we go through it first? Yeah, we go through it first.
I didn't-
Okay, we're gonna take a look
Right.
at the draft minutes from Wednesday, January 4th. We have page 1 of 5. My only item here says Miss Maggio. I know my name is lowercase, but that's okay. I don't care about that. The job description is for the sports, for the secretary. I was able to provide and got that information. So that's good. Anybody have any changes for page 1? No. Anybody have any changes to page
I have
2
a question.
on page 1 or 2? Page 2?
It says select board positions. 3-year term with 1 year remaining. 3-year terms with 2 years auditor remaining. Should that have been under?
Oh.
Let's see, where's,
Three-year
which
term.
section?
Under select board.
Yes.
Yes, the auditor should not be there.
That
3
that
years
sort of
remaining.
confused me thinking that, and
Yes,
then the rest looks, I think it looks okay. 3-year term expiring 2026, which is my term, and 2-year term expiring in 2025. Your term?
Yes,
Mhm.
Okay, that's all I have.
you know, I discovered this, I dictated all this. I discovered that if I put it down on my table and anybody, my wife or something, asks me a question, I can't answer because I got to remember to turn it off. This one, auditor, I did not catch. I can't tell you how many other words. This was around supper time
This
and
is
she
why
was
you
asking
need-
me questions.
This is why you,
So I went in, that's why I sent it the second time.
yes.
Because I
okay,
realized
got
after I
you.
went in there and reread it, holy smoly. So,
I did, yeah, so that's understandable.
you're right, that's a correction.
Right, and there's one other correction under highway budget. This is, it would be the second to last bullet,
Which
On-
page?
page 2.
Okay.
Upon consensus, select board will zero salt sand expenditure. Time frame. There's a number 2 there. That's just drop out the 2 and dollar amounts.
She's talking in the next line, Stan.
Right above permit fees.
You sure, under higher budget, you see upon consensus?
Yeah, okay,
The second line. we'll see
the
it.
third dot, third
Says
bullet.
time frame and number 2. The number 2 just should be deleted.
Let's see,
Right here, Doc, Stan.
over near the end of
I'm
the
sorry,
sentence.
I'm not even, right here, where my finger is.
Okay.
And under the upon consensus section, it's the second line down.
Oh, I already corrected that. You're
Okay.
looking at the first version.
Am I?
That one is,
Oh,
because it's the
Okay.
2 is gone on mine, which I printed out.
Okay.
sorry,
Okay,
anyway.
okay,
All right.
okay.
Okay, so that's fine. You took off your- Okay, trustee of public funds, down at the bottom of the page.
Unless, you know, Guy could have put in the first one and not deleted it and put in the second one. But my version, the most recent one.
Doesn't have it.
that.
Okay. Where it says trustee of public funds appointed Melissa Brown for the remainder of the term expiring 2023. That's not correct. We appointed, we did appoint Melissa Brown,
Yes, we did.
but we did this in the
Okay.
spring, but
Oh,
okay, we did that in the spring.
Right.
Board to review
Statutory requirements for position.
which we did, discuss if appointed or elected new warning. Okay, this is taken care of on the warrant, so I'm fine with that.
Okay.
Page 3,
Okay.
articles, that was no issues. Reports, the recording secretary, I did the job description, that was, anybody have any changes on page 4?
No.
Any changes on page 5? No, okay.
We're done.
Changes on page 6 or 5, the last page. Hearing none, all those in favor of approving the draft minutes from Wednesday, January 4th as amended, signify by saying, I'll make a motion to approve the draft minutes from January 4th as amended. May I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Mello. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of approving the draft minutes as amended, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Right, it's done.
Can I interject something? You had found the correction of not having Sarah Webb in the pages
Oh,
on the
yeah.
warrant. And the reason I didn't put him in there was because she was an at-large
Yeah.
member, and after you brought it up, I thought, you know, she still is representing Brookline, so I went into the West River board to get her term expiration. I confirmed all that.
Okay, because I.
So
wrote
that's
there-
accurate.
Okay, thank you. Forgot about that. All right, so as far as the agenda, set agenda for February 1st, 2023, I have budget town report and to be determined. What would you?
I'm thinking about making a little presentation about what I think we should do with the ARPA money as a draft.
Well, okay,
That should take no more than 20 minutes, if that. If I'm organized, I'll assume I can get it together.
we want to talk about ARPA on the first,
Just for the
and
draft.
budget. We should
We're done.
just say town report and just bring that up. We'll just leave it on there. We can change it. We got plenty of time. All right, is there anything else at this time? If not, I'd like to make a motion that we adjourn this evening's meeting.
Second, you
Okay.
said it.
I know, I don't have, but I know you like saying that. All right, the meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much. The time is 8:51.